I want to have the undisputed title is what I want, so obviously I'm chasing that, but obviously right now that's unavailable. The next best thing is Stipe Miocic.
Chisanga Malata of the Sun here with the Englishman in New York a couple of weeks ago. Tom Aspinall, interim UFC heavyweight champion. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing well, thanks. A lot of media the last couple of days.
You must be sick of us.
I'm good, mate. Nah, it's going. It's actually really smooth. It's really smooth so far, so I'm happy with it.
But I'm sure it's something that you knew would eventually.
Of
come,
course,
obviously.
of course,
yeah.
of course.
Like, first question I've got to ask. How did you come up with the song Sting Englishman in New York? I wasn't expecting to listen to some trippy jazz acid when in Madison Square Garden. So.
Well, I like Sting a lot. I was brought up on Smooth FM. Okay. With my mum and dad always played it in the car and stuff, so I know all them kind of songs. I just thought it was pretty fitting. It was actually supposed to cut into my usual song, which is a great song.
Yeah.
But they had copyright issues or something, so it literally just played that the whole way through. But I thought it was really good anyway. Like, I thought it worked really well. So it was supposed to start off with Englishman in New York. When it got to the chorus, it was supposed to cut to my usual music, but there was no cut. It was just Englishman in New York, and I think it was very fitting. It was a good song.
Yeah, it was fitting. It was fitting. One thing that I asked you in Fight Weekend that you were very good at managing was the magnitude of the emotion of the fight itself. Obviously, fighting in Madison Square Garden, like Muhammad Ali has fought there, like Mike Tyson's fought there, Rocky Marciano's fought there, and you handled it well when you were crouching down. You were doing your normal thing, but did you almost have like a bit of a holy S moment when you saw the golden aura of Donald Trump to like the bottom of the bottom of the thing? Yeah,
that was pretty wild because so on the TVs in the changing rooms, they play what everyone at home can see. You know, like the broadcast. And they were showing some moments of like celebrities walking in, but I don't like to pay attention to that too much. I watch the fights and stuff when they're on, but I don't want to see who's there because it's just extra pressure. So I didn't actually know that Donald Trump was there. When I did my crouch position, which I always do, it's something that opens my hips up. That's the reason I do it. Not a lot of people know that, but I always like try and open my hips up as like a stretch from there. So when the fight starts, I can throw kicks straight away. That's why the reason I do it. So I got down in that position, was looking at my opponent, and I could just see Donald Trump to the side. I was just like, no way, that's Donald Trump. And then I was like, looked at him. I was like, no way, that's Donald Trump. And yeah, I was pretty surprised by it.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. And you said before you went out, your son had done a bit of a deep dive into Sergei and said, oh, it's going to be a tough one, Dad. What was the reaction when you came back with the belt through the front door? Oh,
do you know what? I feel like I had the best reaction that I could ever have. Not because the kids were overly excited that I won the belt, because they weren't. Like, I rung them, I FaceTimed them like after the fight, and you know, they were happy about it and stuff. And by the time I got back 2 days later, it was old news for them. They weren't too bothered. What they were excited about, so I flew the Sunday night, arrived in Manchester Monday morning at like 7 AM, got back for about 8, just before my kids went to school. They didn't care that I'd won the belt. They didn't care that I won the fight. They were just happy that I was home, and they wanted me to take them to school. Then they were talking about after school, can we pick them up? Can we do this and that? And they were just happy that I was home. And to be honest, that was the best reception that I could ever have. They didn't care at all about me winning the fight. Mate, if I would have got knocked out in 10 seconds, it wouldn't have made a difference to them. They were just happy that I was home. So that was the best reception that I could have got.
Well, that's the reaction that you want, and surely doing the school run kind of brings you back down to earth, like from the highest of the highs in the world's most famous arena to doing the school run with kids in the back. Straight
on the school run, mate, in the rain. We barely slept since the fight, but mate, that's what it's all about. I like all that, so I was really happy with it.
And going back to fighting, obviously your future's a bit undetermined at this moment in time, because we don't know when John's coming back and what have you. And I know you said you'd like to fight Stipe. I mean, surely he's still somewhat ready to go. So would it make sense that maybe around springtime, maybe if you're UFC 300, would that make sense?
That makes absolute sense to me. I think that's the only thing that makes sense in my opinion. If Jon Jones, who is the champ, like, listen, there's 2 heavyweight champs now. Granted, mine's an interim title, but that essentially means the title when the champs can't fight. That's what it means, and I'm completely aware of that. But I want to have the undisputed title is what I want, so obviously I'm chasing that. But obviously right now that's unavailable. the next best thing is Stipe Miocic. You know, I've got a small, tiny, small window of time when I could potentially fight him before he retires. And I want to take advantage of that. Like you say, he was supposed to fight in MSG 2 weeks ago, so he's healthy, he's ready to go, and why not? I think that, like you say, UFC 300 is perfect. Like, it's absolutely perfect. So let's do that.
And I don't want to put words in your mouth or whatever, but do you all think that maybe Jon is getting a bit of preferential treatment in terms of not being stripped? Because there's been a precedent beforehand in years gone by, and like if you're out for over a year or what have you, then literally, like there might be an interim title in play, but then you get stripped and then the title's up for grabs. Do you think that's potentially what's happening in this instance? Or?
See, I said in previous interviews that I think Jon Jones should get stripped. I actually worded it wrong. And I don't think he should get stripped, because I think Jon Jones has done so much for the sport as it is that I think he maybe deserves to. I think that he should potentially vacate, but at the same time, who am I to tell Jon Jones what to do? Like, if I come out there and say I think he should vacate, he's definitely not going to vacate, like, because I've said it. He's probably going to do the opposite. So I think that if it gets up to like a year though, or something like that, which, in my opinion, we're talking about a guy with a lot of miles on the clock. The guy is definitely not fresh as an athlete. This thing's going to take a while. Like, I know a lot of people, not a lot of people, I know a few people who've like torn the pec and stuff. It's no joke, that injury, mate. And it's not, I know they're saying like 8 to 10 months before he can train. That translates to way north of a year to when you can actually compete again. So we'll see, we'll just see how it all plays out, I guess. But yeah, I guess we just got to wait and see at this point.
But that timeline would give you more time to prepare for him, right?
Of course. Like, I'm getting better all the time, and I'm getting more and more mature as an athlete. I think that bigger guys only mature a lot later in terms of strength and speed and just knowing my body and stuff. And I'm learning about myself every day. So it's not going to be time wasted for me. It's going to be time that I'm improving. I'm not a guy who spends massive amount of times out at the gym and gets fat and all that anymore. Like, I take this stuff very seriously, and I'm training twice a day. And
just 2 more quick questions from me. You're nowhere near your prime, like as you said, heavyweights. Like, you've got Andrei Arlovski who's still fighting at like 43, 44, or what have you. But have you thought about what the Tom Aspinall legacy in the UFC will look like when it's all said and done? Yeah,
so I want to go down as the best heavyweight ever. Simple as that. I want to go down as the best heavyweight ever. And I've got a lot of work to do, mate. I'm not, just because I've got a belt now and I'm ranked #1 in the world now, which I am. I'm actually ranked above Jon Jones, which doesn't really mean anything, to be honest. I'm not satisfied. I'm nowhere near satisfied. I'm completely aware that there's a lot more work to do before I'm even considered in the talk of the best heavyweight of all time. And I'm here to put the work in. I'm here to take my chances, as I've done plenty times before. I'm here to take everyone out, as I've been doing. And yeah, just give me some time and I'm going to try my best with it.
And I know you're not one for words and like call-outs or whatever, but is there a message to the rest of the division now that you're pretty much at the precipice of the mountain?
I don't feel like I have nothing to say, you know. I feel like my resume speaks for itself, and I think that it takes a special person to walk into Madison Square Garden with no training camp and knock out the most dangerous guy in the UFC. I think it takes a special person, and I'll just leave it at that.
Tom Aspinall, pleasure as always.